everyone, welcome. We are live with today's stream. There is obviously a couple of things we're going to get into very quickly, but before we do that, I just want to introduce two people we haven't had on stream in a very long time. To my right, Mod Ashes, and to my left, Mod Stu.
Hello.
How you guys been? It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a long while. Yeah, we've been hard at work, getting a lot of really cool stuff done.
Before the stream started, we were kind of wondering the last time we were actually on stream, and it's got to be a good year to 2 years,
No,
I think.
I think, well, for you, yes.
For me, at least.
For Stu, I think it was around about the time we did the Quest Struct rework, so I'd say February time,
Yeah,
I believe. So 6 months for Stu, and over a year plus maybe 2 years for Ashes.
Yeah,
I can't remember specifically.
That's what I mean. We're like, what?
So I'll clear up a couple of things straight away. So people are saying, for example, mobile bank is broken after the update. Yes, that is known. Yes, the guys are sorting it. I have no ETA to give you on that one, but I can absolutely tell you it has been chased up. I have asked them what's going on, and they're trying to get that sorted as soon as they can, obviously for the people who can get onto RuneScape Mobile at the moment. As you may obviously be aware, yesterday we did the sigil updates. Stuff happened. We had to reboot the game about 5:30, I think it was, due to issues that came from it. We've done more hotfixes today in regards to the ingenuity of humans working now properly off vulnerability spell, for example. I do realise I've kind of summarised it by saying stuff happened, but admittedly I wasn't here yesterday. But yes, stuff happened, and we are chasing up everything that's come from it. The cold fix itself obviously brought back Reprisal, which for some reason decided to go walkabout and just didn't want to be used anymore, and the other stuff that we are doing and jumping on from there. But anything we are trying to hotfix, we are doing so. In regards to the stack value overlay on drops, that is a known issue as well, and anything that you guys pop up in the chat, I will try and respond to wherever possible. In other news, obviously the Clan Cup's ongoing for Big Game Hunter. We're a day into it now. We've had over 100 plus unique entries for this. 68 clans themselves have entered. There is a post on the Clan Cup forum at the moment with the top 3 clans currently are the Order of War, Maxed, and Legendary Inc. Now, as a note, no clan has entered all 10 entrants yet, so those scores will change a lot as the week goes on. So this is just day 1, and we'll see where we go from there. And of course, all the info is on runescape.com/clancup. I feel like I should have mentioned about Slayer's inside power has worn off as a bit of a joke, but it's fixed. That message that kept popping up constantly, yes, that is fixed as well. And also the Twitch Prime bonuses for August should be going live in a few minutes, if not live now, I'm not sure. Which comes around 6 p.m. My script has been updated as I talk. 6 p.m. So at the end of this, about the end of the stream, the Twitch Prime pack will be updated, and that'll be with 200 rune coins, 15 keys, and 40 hats of ice. So about
40 hats then.
40 hats of ice.
Yeah,
hats of ice.
Hats of ice. That's a new one. Yeah.
So that'll be happening. I was hoping to get Maud Osborne to join me on stream because he owes me an apology if you are all up to speed with what happened during the summer skill off, but he appears to have randomly not decided to turn up on stream for whatever reason. So I was hoping Osborne was going to join us, but that ain't going to happen. He may just come down for all I know. And I think that is it from that. But of course, anything mobile perk does work on mutated badge now. That was hotfixed earlier on today, so that will now work with badge and mutated badge, and that should be good to go. But I think I've covered as much as I can based on everything that's happened. But without further ado, we should probably get into why I have Mod, Stu, and Ashes here. So guys, I'll throw it over to you. And
I was quite enjoying you rambling off World Cup, to be honest. Because that was a lot of stuff that happened.
I talk a lot of nonsense, don't I? I'm great at that. But yeah, I'll throw it over to you guys. And we actually have in-game stuff to show you today on stream, which is exciting. So what have you guys been up to, I should say?
A lot, considering it's been a while. So primarily, I don't know, how far can we go with this? Just trying to think primarily what I can say I've been working on. But obviously they know, most of you know, I have been working on mobile.
Yeah.
So along with that, Stu as well. Stu as well, not just me.
It's not like, oh no, we don't want to work on mobile.
It's just me. It's all me. I want it all. No, so yeah, myself and Stu plus a few others have all been on mobile. So we've been hard at work doing that. For most of you people on here, we are not showing mobile today. We're going to get that right now. No mobile today. No info
So-
on mobile of when it's coming out or anything of this.
So to kind of clarify, what we're looking to get from this is inevitably there will be times in the game where we bring out updates to mobile, which will
Yeah.
change stuff
For
on the
desktop.
on the
Yeah.
desktop experience.
Yeah.
So we're using this as an opportunity to show you what has happened, what has changed,
Yeah.
so you guys can see it ahead of time.
So we've made a few modifications. Most of it has been around some of the sort of top level style, as well as Stu will come into later talking about some of the areas that have potentially changed. We've been working around sort of the new player area and sort of the new player experience, just because we know when we eventually allow people into mobile, we should hopefully get a nice influx of new people, and we want them to have a nice experience of when that happens. So I suppose we can get cracking on. John, if you want to
Let's
flick
do it,
onto
John.
the machines, thank you very much.
Oh, nice little broadcast and chat there, always good. So
Join us now. There
watch
we
the
go,
stream,
look.
even though you guys
Just
probably
zoom
watching
right
this,
in
or
on
if
that,
you're watching
everyone.
this on YouTube, there'll be a little bit
of
defunct.
inception.
Alright, what we got?
So obviously this is Burthorpe. As we've started out, most of you should know this area. You will notice it's had a bit of a facelift and a bit of a change around.
There's a lot more buildings now.
Yeah, I'll do a lot of
Yeah.
walking around later on and just show you the
We're going to have
change
Stu
the layout.
Stu as our tour guide,
He is,
basically.
yeah.
Okay.
So she was the one that obviously come up with the initial designs. Some of you may have only come back from TAP.
Yeah, and from the last game jam, we did a design there to essentially change the layout of Burthorpe to Taverley, make the two areas more distinct and clean
Yeah.
up a lot of the visual noise and clutter in that area.
Yeah.
So basically, yeah, I've been able to take that design and implement it.
Yeah, it looks really nice. Does look good. So
Rely
it'll be
on
good to
Stu
show
to
later.
give us a guide on that one, so yeah.
Your tour guide Stu right here. So I'm going to show you over two changes that I've been sort of overseeing and kind of helping with. One of them are the changes to prayer interface. Let me see if I can find it. Here we go. So most of you will notice actually it's not really changed much.
So
On
from what
desktop
I
to
can
a
see,
degree.
desktop used to have just a prayer icon, then the number at the
Correct.
current prayer points and the max prayer points as well. There's now
Yeah,
a filter.
there's now three buttons.
That looks like a filter icon.
That is a filter
and a prayer
icon.
button.
You
Okay.
have got some good eyes there, Shawnee. Well
Cool.
done.
Thanks for the thanks, Ash. I appreciate that.
This child interface will change for mobile as a better sort of mobile experience.
Cool.
But alongside, we've made a few sort of adjustments and changes that will hopefully benefit desktop at the same time. So we'll start with the filter. We'll go right to left.
Sure.
So the filter is literally just a simple toggle to show what you can
click
actually
the-
see when we are.
can we
Yeah,
click
keep the filter pop.
click here to filter the list of prayers to show only those who meet the level 4 quest requirements, which is great
Yep.
because in the game currently, the only thing that technically is filtered out is the AOD curses, which are grayed out, the tier 99 curses.
Yep.
So having a way to see, oh, actually, I don't have to click on this prayer to see if I can do it
Can
or
I
not.
do it or not? Yeah,
It's now on the
right
prayer,
there,
which
so,
is good.
Yeah,
Okay.
so obviously, quick toggle on this account. You can see obviously them shift away and reappear again.
Cool.
Nice and simple. So the button next to it, which is the prayer icon, is your quick prayer setup.
Simple,
Nothing's changed there.
everyone's- yeah,
Nothing's
that.
changed. Then the slightly bigger button to the left obviously shows your prayer points, max prayer points, and is a nice little button in itself that you can tap to show which ones you currently have active.
So when you say active, is it just going to show the prayer or what's it going to do? You don't have prayer points, good sir.
I don't, but I'm going to cheat.
PR. You can do it.
I can. It's trying to look through the mouse.
What we got?
So if I flick on that one, and then toggle it, you can see there that it
Okay,
shows
so if
what
I
you have active.
so if I have
at the
like
time.
my AOD
Yeah.
curse is active, I can see the specific stats it's giving
Yeah.
me from those prayers. Okay, that's cool.
That, and obviously you only ever have one prayer icon over your head as a player. So if you know you've got more on, this will give you a quick rundown of what exactly you've got on at the time.
Cool.
As long as obviously with stats and stuff, and you can toggle them off here. They stay there. You can obviously that will activate your quick prayer, but you can turn them back on again very quickly.
And
Nice.
they're down on your buff bar too.
Oh yeah, so yeah, and yeah, of course they're on the buff bar, and
Yeah.
I'm sure you're all aware as we covered it a few months back. Obviously, the buff bar changes. We will give you a little reminder as to what's changed on that, of course, later on as well. But yeah, what you right?
Yeah, that's right. Just I realised I'd done a fix for mobile and I forgot I'd left the black border
why we do
around
these
the
streams.
back.
No, it's fine.
Yeah,
That's
I need to remove it. Although some people say they like it. I don't know. Chat, tell us down here. Let's get some
Nice.
feedback from the chat while we're in. Down the bottom in the chat bars, there's a very
Can you move the camera
faint
so we can see it, so it's not faded into the? There you go. It may be difficult to see on screen.
Yeah.
Oh, I can see what you mean.
There's a very faint black line around each of the boxes that just sits just outside enough. Let's see what they think. Do they like it? Do they not like it? Who knows? Let's see. I've been in a bit of a debate for about a week with QA whether we should take it off or not. But yeah, so that's prayer. As I said, that hasn't hopefully changed much for desktop, but it will change a bit more for mobile. When that venture comes out, you can obviously see.
Well, you guys will see it when it happens. Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. Looking like a little love by the look of it, which is good.
Well done, Ash.
Totally accidental.
Okay.
So the next thing
Oh, hello. We got
comes from the top. We have a new window. I'm going to close the prayer one down and bring this one over. So most of you will remember, I'm going to close that one down, the achievement tracker.
Came out with the achievement update April 2017.
Yes. Where you could track up to 3 achievements. And that basically all you could track.
Oh no, actually it was in the second
It was the second batch of stuff.
in summer
that
2017,
I did,
yes.
That was, yeah. Well, with all that stuff.
Yeah.
So that allows you to track up to 3 achievements. We've repurposed the window. So now it is a very generalized tracker.
Cool.
So it not only tracks achievements, it also tracks quests, or at least the quest you've set active. What else have I done? Any mini games that you have set active that you want to look at?
D&Ds, daily challenges, Slayer counter,
Reaper counter, a few other things as well.
How do we manage it? Like, so you've just explained this stuff. So how do we do it?
This right now, if you don't have anything tracked, it will try and show you recommended paths that we feel you are available to work with. And this comes along with the new experience of as you roll in. But you can click the Find More button in the bottom.
So it's a case of like essentially guiding them on their way, right, as they come into the game. Because it's the game's almost 19 years old. It's overwhelming. Like there's so much to do when you first come in. It's like I've just spawned in Burthorpe, I've just gone to Lumbridge. Where do I do it? Where do I go? And this essentially is that guide way to get in there, right?
Yeah. So I think you're going to go through this a bit later, Stu, aren't you? With all of the stuff that will come with this new experience. I'm just going to go over some of the interfaces.
Will that not this interface, but the mini interface? Will that come up for new players then?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Because
it's an automatic one that will come up. It's used as essentially their hint, like tutorial style hint system.
Cool.
We have all of the stuff that they wish to track at the time. So if I click on, say, Lumbridge cooking, it will give me the achievement to cook shrimps on a range in Lumbridge, which I'm nowhere near Lumbridge, so I can't actually go complete that. But it's tracking that path. So you'll see at the top there's a distinction between Lumbridge cooking. It says 6 out of 6. There's actually 6 paths, 6 different achievements to complete this path. And the bit underneath will always change based on the step that you are currently trying to achieve.
Cool.
So this is the final one in the step to do that. And then this is on the right left-hand side is the parent interface where it all kind of sits and we can manage and everything else, which we can populate. So if I go in, I'll pick up a random challenge and I'll pin that as well so it shows underneath.
And still, while you're on that challenges tab, notice that the active task panel that used to be down there has been removed. So an issue that we tend to have quite a lot of bug reports for is people will set themselves guidance to something, whether that might be pinning a challenge or setting a quest to active, and then there'll be some kind of breadcrumb trail pointing them towards something in the world. But they've got no idea which system that came from, whether it's tracking a challenge or their Slayer task or whatever, because we have several different tracking mechanisms for each one of those pieces of content. So the goal behind this activity tracker is to have one centralized place which surfaces the content that you're tracking, and then from that place then you can easily find it and turn it off if you wish to do so.
Yeah.
Cool. Nice.
So while you were talking, so I've just gone through and I've added a couple more. So instead of 3, we've actually given you 5. So you can track Slayers and...
Now, obviously, people are going to go, oh, but you already have the Slayer tracking button at the top right corner.
We do.
But,
yes, we do.
It's preference, right, in that regard.
So we've added it on here purely as an extension to mobile.
Cool.
So mobile does not have a Slayer counter.
Oh no, so they don't have that button.
So
at the
they
top
do
right.
not have the top button at the top right as a option on their screen. However, they can use the activity tracker to bring their Slayer counter onto screen if they so wish.
Mobile has significantly less screen real estate to work with, so having one centralized place where we can do the tracking is a very beneficial thing.
Yeah, so instead putting it onto a main interface where you can kind of see it all there is better than just having a little button on it. So okay, fair enough.
So it was a decision made for mobile, but we've obviously allowed it on.
There's convenience with that. Like if you don't want to
course.
have it, just remove it, right?
Exactly.
Like, that's fair enough.
Yeah. And we're hoping it should have all the same benefits as the actual Slayer counter in the top corner. So this will show some more information and stuff.
I do like having the XP remaining in the tracker interface. It stops me having to mouse over my skill itself in the skill window, for example, or over the skill icon.
So I've just randomly chosen some things just to give an idea of what's in there. So there's a path on there. There is what did I choose? That was a quest for Dimensional Disaster. Obviously a skill tracker. You've got your Slayer task. And then the other one was just a challenge. So it just shows that obviously we've adapted it to be a lot more diverse. It's there to show. You can use these buttons to switch how you want them to be, so you can move them up and down.
Nice.
Yeah. So if you want like your Slayer counter, which is Dagonoff, so if I turn one off, perhaps if I know how to use this interface that I wrote to be at the top, then you can have it right at the top and just turn it back off.
Nice.
So that allows you to do that. Alongside these, this right-hand side will give you a bit more information if it requires that you don't see. So for instance, this has 3 rewards that you don't get to see on the child interface. You can jump directly to the overview of this or the journal. You can go straight to the skill guide for that particular skill you're tracking. So yeah, it has some benefits and stuff to go along with it. We're hoping that we can utilize this system a bit more, get players sort of using it as another tabbable window rather than something that's permanently on screen and stuff.
Do you think instead of having the icons, can they not just be listed in text form, maybe? Instead, so you don't have to mouse. So if you click on Dimensional Disaster, for example, I didn't think about this.
These?
Yeah.
I would love to.
Okay.
Sadly, the way that this works, it pulls off of the quest struct, and
So
all of that
data
stuff is pure strings.
Okay.
So we'd have to do a bit of rewriting in that instance to show the physical potential physical object that there is, assuming you get an object. Because most of it at the beginning, like this one, is you got your quest points. That is a variable, right?
Yeah.
Your next one is that, actually, there should be another one in here. I think we'll probably say treasure hunt the keys or something. As a thing. It's basically reusing the string that you see on the quest complete page. Say this is all the stuff you've got. So it's using that as a back end system to essentially go, can I have some info, please? This is the info you are given.
Cool.
I think that's that. I think that's everything. We've also pulled in, so you'll notice probably at the bottom here, this rotator.
Which was used on featured,
It is actually featured. If I remove this, it is this, essentially. Just more, we're kind of looking to maybe deprecate this tab. It's not really used to the best benefit that we feel it's kind of useful for. And while users, hopefully new users, are using this information, which you can click on and it automatically selects, we're hoping that at the same time this kind of shows a bit more interest of other things that's going on. So instead of having to go to the featured tab, it's all here in one place.
I'm not quite sure what the use of featured tab would be anymore, really. If you kind of condensed it into
one tab,
and now it has more on top of it as well.
Yeah.
In a way.
That's the idea, is that obviously we can show them so much, and we're hoping that we can kind of tie in the odd little bit to say, hey, look, there's a bit more. Click on a few different bits and pieces, and hopefully they'll head off and do something nice that's a bit different to what they're used to doing. And that, as well as, obviously, this is my current path, which if I do not have a path to remove, this will become empty. And this, if you click the show more button, will take you to the achievements and show you the achievement path stuff for you to do anyway.
38 out of 44 paths. Okay. Nice.
So yeah, but that's sort of everything really that's going on with those. That's kind of what I wanted to run through. I think that kind of solves everything.
If we kind of just summarize this in a sense, this is essentially for the first time user experience of someone coming into RuneScape, correct?
So that's what we're primarily aiming the child window at, along with some of the paths that Stu's going to run through for the users. So it should help give, you know how most games have kind of the this is your objectives kind of tab. That's kind of what we aimed with this child window. These are your objectives for the day. Do them in whatever order you want. Add more, take away more. That's kind of the idea of this window.
Because in essence, yes, everyone in the stream most likely is watching and is probably engaged with the game towards mid to high levels. Probably aren't going to understand like why we're doing this. At the same time, it is good to bring in and make that flow for a new player better, so we can get more players in. So you know, it's nice to show everyone what we're doing there in that regard. So I think that's really cool. You know, I think that's awesome. Yeah,
we feel it will have a nice benefit again as it comes back to obviously the mobile stuff.
Sorry, so the people who are going new players lol, like that's the exact point I'm trying to make, where you all just disregard this point entirely.
Yeah.
This is why we're doing this, to, you know, help the new players flow onto the game.
I love how most people are saying new players lol, but most of the concerns I hear is we're not trying to get enough new players into the game. Where's this barrier? Come on, people, where's this barrier?
Just, you know, I just wanted to put that point in there because, you know, it's you have to appreciate the fact that you all may go new players and like laugh about it and so on and so forth, but you know, there has to be an effort made to bring on new players, because at the end of the day, more players the better, right? So that's the important thing. Anyway, sorry, I just can't have my own little diatribe there, but anyway,
it's needed sometimes. You have to have to put these things out. So yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to show, really. As I said, most of this stuff kind of stemmed from us doing bits and pieces on mobile, but actually in the longer term, the sort of new player retention and the benefits this kind of gives means that we can share them across both platforms.
And we want to ensure that we're transparent about any changes that are going to impact desktop as well, so we're just trying to give you as much upfront warning as possible.
So yeah.
So, yeah, we are in the chat, and I'm just going to interject because obviously Stu's going to throw it onto his section. Before we do that, there's some people who want to spam refunds and so on and so forth in regards to the sigil update. Now, I'm just going to put it out there, what has happened is the way it's going to stay, and the confusion and the outrage from the sigil refund is simply due to the fact, I presume, that when we first went on stream, we said the refund was going to work this way. Then we made a Reddit post and said it was going to work another way. Then the next day we made another Reddit post and said we were going to work another way. So the confusion, unfortunately, I think has led to that. And that is our bad in that regard, due to that, like, essentially going back and forth. And it's very confusing and so on and so forth. So I think that is, in essence, part of the issue with the refund stuff, to say the very least. But that's about all I can say on it, really. Unfortunately, guys, it's about as simple as that. But for those wondering why, because I've seen people saying why people saying this, so on, I thought I'd just clarify as to what's going on as well. It's tough sometimes being a community manager for you guys, because you're all so passionate about it, and it's tough when we have to try and, you know, spin around and try and get stuff sorted for you guys to make it the best it can be. But that's part of the fun and the challenge in it, really. Right, Stu. You're next, I believe, sir. What? Yeah. What are we doing a swap?
We'll do a quick chair change.
Excellent chair swap. I'm just going to scoot back here.
Even going to be room for this? There we go. That's easier.
Still went to bring the chair over. Yeah. I was just like, wait, what?
That'd be way too easy, wouldn't it?
Far too much room.
Let's see. Before I move on to talking about achievement paths and the Burthorpe Taverley area, just an update to a reminder of some things that ModPie showed off in a previous stream.
Yep.
So some additional benefits coming through from the work we're doing on the first-time user experience. There are going to be 3 additional action bar slots available. So and that's available to free-to-play. So the free-to-play currently have 3, they go up to 6. If you've bought all the additional slots, it goes up to 13 now, I believe.
So, yeah, instead of you having for example, if you have 10 action bars already, when this update hits, you'll then be given an additional free action bars. And the way I'd say it sometimes comes across iffy, but free action bars goes up to 13 action bars with that. But that does not mean, and I've got to clear this out of the way because we had to do this when Pi was on the stream, it does not mean that you will get an additional action bar on the screen. So I have to cut that off at the head right now before people start asking. So just to clarify that one. Anyway.
He also showed off a rework to the buff bar, so the whole system for doing buffs and debuffs has been reworked. A lot more information on there. It moves the items that are going to expire soonest to the beginning of the bar, so you're more aware of tracking that.
You can have up to 50.
50 for each.
50 up to 50 slots.
Yeah.
50 buffs, 50 debuffs.
Not the 12 we were stuck to before.
Don't blame me. Hey,
no, you split it out from just 12 of everything.
You mean you didn't like it when it was green and red mixed together? So 50 buff icons, 50 buffs, 50 debuffs, and obviously, as Stu mentioned, what will be awesome with it, of course, is when the timers get to a certain point, they'll prioritize themselves and kind of tell you you're kind of running out a little bit, so you should probably do something about that, which is
good
awesome.
To see that with the potions, special overloads and all those.
Agreed.
Just kind of hitting the top and flashing at you and being like, oh, I should probably action this point.
And you can move the bar however you want that, right, as well. So instead of it being static to what it was, you can make it like 50 this way or 50 that way. It's really up to you. So you can now play around with your interface that much more yet again with buff bars, which is great.
Yeah, he's also done some changes to the default interface layout for new players, so it's much more similar to the legacy layout in some ways, or to what players coming back to the game would be more familiar with. So that should be a little smoother. The default action bars as well, in terms of like how it populates them when you use the auto setup action bar settings, and how we introduce action bars to players. It's kind of been more optimized for the latest revolution rotations and so on. What else was on the list? Unfortunately, this tablet.
Okay,
I don't know if you know how to turn it on.
You keep talking, Stu. I got you. There you go.
There we go. Yeah. So something that I'd mentioned in the last Game Jam is finally going to come through, because a lot of the stuff I've done on the new player experience in Game Jam and in TAP in the past has been a foundation for what I've continued doing on this new project. In free-to-play, currently they're limited to 2 daily challenge slots at a time. They're going to be increased to the 5 that members have. So that was mainly just a simplification of how the basic daily challenges are handled, because we've removed the path system, which ordinarily, if you were still on the path, there would be a paths tab there. You'd have Gudrick's face, and he'd have a few basic quests and banking and trading that he puts you through. We replaced that with a new first-time user experience, and part of that process is also going through daily challenges. Previously, you could turn the path system on and off, and it would replace your current daily challenges with the basic challenges intended for new players. Now that only gets done as a new player, as your initial rotation, and there's a tutorial for the daily challenge system the first time you use it. So basically, because we needed to show 5 basic challenges to players, rather than doing this very weird exception to allow that to happen in that one case, we just let all free-to-play have 5 daily challenges.
The extra action bars will... we don't have an ETA to put on the update at the moment, unfortunately, which I do understand is kind of what we said the last time we had it on stream, but I can tell you it's absolutely much closer than what it was than the last time we were on stream and showed you this. So, as much as I want to say it's coming out on X, I am of the opinion that I never want to give you guys a date unless it's absolutely going to happen on that day, because it's frustrating when that date isn't hit and then you guys are like, well, where is it?
Blame Shawnee.
Yeah, that, sure, why not?
Hashtag blame Shawnee.
Another one on the list of things to mention is that the number of action bar bind slots has been increased to 13 as well, to accommodate those additional bars. And lesser versions of several basic abilities have been added for new players so that they have a more interesting rotation. And an eat food ability has been added as well.
I love that.
We're going to be updating that icon. As much as I love that big mouth
works
icon.
so well.
Yeah, we just got the sprite for it recently. It's going to be like a knife and fork. Because I mean, what's more British than eating
Where's
a knife and fork during combat?
Do we have an animation of him using a knife and fork now? Then
tragically, no.
I know. Unbelievable.
No, that does sound like a nice thing to put in as an override. Of a player walking, eating their food, or they're walking along.
Yeah, we're hoping to have like a main hand knife and an offhand fork. And, like if you were to use the fork on the item only without the knife equipped, then you automatically get transferred to a USA server.
So,
that sort of thing.
Jesus. The eat food ability, basically is just doing the food action on your action bar, so it will still consume adrenaline if you eat food as per usual. So
it basically finds the first edible thing in your inventory and uses it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone said there's new Ingenuity Humans not working with Vol intended. It should be working with Vol now. We hotfixed that about 45 minutes ago. No, actually about an hour ago. So yeah, do try it now. That should do it.
Okay, so first of all, showing Burthorpe and Taverley. So
it's tall guy time. Here we go.
Yeah, there we go. Actually, show you something.
Tall guy stew.
Let's just turn on all these icons. So after Tutorial Island, the players are going to land in Burthorpe at the Burthorpe Lodestone, and we walk them through a tutorial that introduces what we call the core loops of RuneScape. So, for example, in combat, you want to ensure that you're preparing yourself for combat by bringing food, appropriate armor, how to handle the drops that you pick up, what to do with them, and so on.
What are these names about? They have names.
Yeah, so back on the map. Sorry, I'm getting all over
No, so I'm getting ahead of myself. I've just seen the names. Wait a second.
Yeah, let me show you the first time user experience later on and talk about the map now. So I've been away from the stream for such a long time with all these things going on in my head. It's like an explosion. Okay, so Burthorpe and Taverley. So the intention here was to try and split out the area into two distinct spaces again. So we have a forest here breaking up the two areas. The skilling area is its own dedicated space, separate away from everything else, because previously you had all these tutors mixed in with the rest of Burthorpe, and a lot of just a clutter and visual noise. You had all of these old military tents over in this area, which were mixed in with the Tudor-style buildings, and kind of Burthorpe itself was crunched up against the edge here, really. So we tried to separate out into more distinct spaces. And also up here at this military camp that we've added, attached to the Burthorpe Castle, trying to bring back more of that
actual
gritty,
interaction, being able to, I don't know, seeing little things like that. It's like when you look at the dig site workers bringing back their stuff to the Barrack Museum, just little interactions like that I think are really awesome.
Yeah, so
that looks awesome. I love that.
So kind of a more distinct tone, because Burthorpe needs to serve two different purposes. For people who are doing their initial skilling, and for the people who are using this social hub over here, we need somewhere that's pretty bright and sunny and appealing and welcoming for new people coming into the game. But the Troll Warzone had previously had more of a gritty, hard, menacing tone.
Rain?
Yeah, so it's
sorry, we have rain.
Yeah, so a bit of isolated rain along this patch here. So effectively, the part where the Burthorpe militia are holding back the trolls, and they've got the gatehouse here that they're holding the line to try and keep the rest of the of Burthorpe a happier and more pleasant place, so you don't have these trolls pouring in and having this horrible war going on. But their lives are quite unpleasant. There are a lot of dead bodies, for example, around this troll cave over here.
It's not dynamic weather.
Someone said, so it's modelled for the UK summer.
Yeah, very much so, precisely.
Can we can we go back to the world map really quickly?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can we zoom in, scroll down just a little bit, as in go down towards Taverley for me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Now, I assumed that I thought the obelisk had disappeared down there, and I was like, oh god.
The obelisk, as in the god statue?
As in where you can do your summoning training.
Yeah.
So that's still there.
Okay. Yeah. So to reassure people, just
there we go, people.
Jumping here to Taverley. Don't worry, the summoning people haven't changed at all. There's still a summoning tutor there.
You can still do your runs.
Yeah, he has the ops in exactly the same way. So don't worry, none of that's changed. But for example, the Herblore tutor has now moved down into Taverley because Herblore is a bit more appropriate as for
Fits
the
in
druids.
nicely with the the area.
And this gelatinous abomination cave that used to take up a lot of space here. I'm on a free-to-play world at the moment, but if you're on a members world, then the Lady of the Lake would be there and standing in the middle, and she has a bit more space as opposed to being crunched up in a corner with this cave that had been added. That abomination.
That's the balloon ride.
Yeah.
And
the balloon.
This
That is on that island.
Yeah,
That's
this is-
not, yeah, that's right. I wasn't.
Yeah, this is a fairly new account. It's one that's just gone through the first few steps of the first time user experience. So,
Don't have the eyes to see.
yeah,
the
so
balloon yet.
that rock there gets changed into the balloon when you've done
Nice.
the Enlightened
Okay.
Journey.
Cool.
Yeah, not much has changed in Taverley itself. We've moved the thieving merchants into the area here, just so there's a little less clutter on the road here.
Has the farming tree plot gone?
Yes, so that
It
so.
has.
So the farming plot, we've moved over to essentially the farming area here. So try to make clustered areas with a particular theme. So rather than having the tree patch disconnected from the rest of the farming area, we got it over here by the potato patch.
Nice. So they're now patches next to each other. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
and then the flax field is kind of a garden for the farming area, and we've got a dedicated chicken pen. So it's all kind of themed together. Also updated some of the NPC assets around here.
It's
so
closer to Lodestone, so people on your farm runs.
Yeah, there we go.
It'll
So-
be different, obviously.
So
for
the chickens, the sheep, the cows have all been updated, and we've moved the sheep pen over to here again to try and have one themed space. So all of the farming and skill training stuff happens in one area. We've also cut back on the amount of skill tutors, rather than having one for each one of the skills. So, for example, the crafting tutor now talks about all of the artisan skills. So if you want to find out information about them, it's in one place, and then you can talk about the other ones in more detail, rather than having one dedicated person who only has a few lines of dialogue each, and one centralized shop with just the things that are pertinent. Because we still had a lot of items on there that were on your tool belt, so there's really no point in buying them.
Has anything changed quest-wise as a result of these changes to the areas?
We've been pretty sensitive about that. Let me try to think as much of anything. So Commander Denolf will be over here in the Burthorpe training camp here.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
We want to try and bring back some of the tone of the original Burthorpe before the Troll War Zone. So back then, Denolf was running some troops through their paces, and he would do like a punch and then a kick. So we're just doing some sort of thing, but with the abilities that we have available to us. Also, if you're looking for your baby troll, we brought back this guy over here, Commander Kemans, who has it on his shoulder until you get your baby troll during the daily challenge tutorial. We've put the prayer altar over here as well, and brought back the wounded soldiers because people wanted those because they won a voice acting competition. So just try to find a way that we could make use of the space.
People want these wounded soldiers back.
I know, right? But
Gotta make it look realistic.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
but try to take advantage of the footprint. It looks a bit more like temporary. You know that they've suffered losses from the trolls, and there are more people who are wounded. So it's not like they have a dedicated hospital. They've kind of had to fall back and start using the chapel.
Has Challenge Mistress Farah moved at all?
No, she's still there.
She's still there. Okay, cool.
So again, we've been careful about trying to keep the social hub intact because there's a lot of player activity going around here. So she's still there. We got rid of the gnome trader who was on this pedestal here because, in fact, he has the same stock as Corporal Booth, who's in the Troll Cave. So
No point having duplicates then.
yeah, he was pretty redundant. But you probably noticed that Burthorpe tends to get used a lot for content onboarding. So you'll find that as time goes on, you have, the raffle and Victor Trader and the latest Christmas information and people telling you to go to the Anachronia. So trying to create dedicated spaces for onboarding. So we have this podium here dedicated to the most recent thing we're telling you about. And then we have a spillover space we can use here as well for things that need a larger footprint, like a circus tent from the raffle or whatever. Let's see, what else?
Where is the raptor chest?
Raptor chest should be in pretty much the same place. I did duck it around in the back here because it doesn't tend to get used very much, but just to keep it still in the space. Also reduced the footprint of the Clan Vexilum because it doesn't get used that much. But it's still there.
You're saying that to our clan owner.
Just want to point something out. You've now made it right next to the Burthorpe Bank.
Yeah.
It would now get used a lot more.
Oh, okay.
It was always next to the Burthorpe.
Well, no, you had to walk down a little bit. Not as far.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make excuses. I'm trying to save it. No, it's fine.
That's a plus that I hadn't thought of. So thank you for that.
Oh no.
From a pad on the floor in a rage.
And for people who are doing
I understand. It's fair.
and for people doing their Jack of Trades aura, people wanted things they could still kill in this area. There were some white wolves here. It didn't make a whole lot of sense having dangerous white wolves right down here, right next to the bank where gnomes and things are. So replace them with some nice rabbits. They're also graphically updated too.
So you can now just kill rabbits during your Jack of Trades?
There's actually quite a lot of rabbits around.
There are a lot of rabbits.
So the first task that Turiel, who we're using as a tutor for the new first-time user experience, one of the first things he has to do is kill some rabbits, so that we got some nearby for there, as well as that spillover section, and also some rabbits in the forest, because hey, who
do
doesn't
those
like
rabbits roll for the player on farm rabbits?
They are the
yes.
new
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Nice. So you can actually get an animal when doing the Jack of Trades.
Yeah, I mean,
nice.
you could previously. There were rabbits in Burthorpe, but they were just like a few up in this corner here.
So it wasn't optimal, if you want to use that phrase, for people on the Jack of Trades runs. So
yeah, exactly.
Okay, fair enough.
Let's see, the guild's pretty much the place it used to be. So there were a couple of military tents here, like with the mess hall. So the range for the mess hall is now in here instead. This is Turiel's house. We've also moved the ladder going down to Turiel's challenge dungeon here as well. Again, that's bringing back something from the old Burthorpe. The magic shop is over here as well, which has the advantage that also brings it even closer to the lodestone for people who are doing their daily rune runs. Let's see what else is around here.
Might be useful for you.
Dunstan. Oh, yeah, thanks.
The original dock.
My original map.
Good Stewards.
Yeah.
Yeah, Divination
Rain,
Tutor. If you need the Wicked Herd, it's from there. The Loyalty Store guy is there.
Where does Bob spawn?
Bob, I'm actually not sure exactly where he spawns. I think he's near
We know he
Gaius'
spawns
house.
though, so it's
Yeah,
fine.
but he definitely does spawn. I've seen him moving around here. And we've made sure that the clue scrolls in the area are still working. So, for example, there's a barrel that used to be around here. It's now up against this wall here. That still works. There was a pickpocketing chest somewhere. I think you'd get that one.
Yeah, and I think it's the drawers, right?
Yeah. Trying to remember if there's
General
anything
question
else.
from someone: how much effort is it to change the layout of existing content?
Well,
That says a lot right there.
Well, it depends on the content. What's in the area?
Okay,
yeah,
so
the assets themselves are pretty modular. Particularly these assets, because in Burthorpe that environment was built in like 2012, so it's not like
Somewhat recent,
the environment itself is sculpted or anything. So it's kind of more kit pieces that we can move around more easily. But in terms of content attached to it, we have to be quite careful about ensuring that things don't break.
Yeah, especially like you say, like clue scrolls.
I was going to say, clue scrolls all good with this as well.
Yeah, they should all be updated and working.
Yeah. So like as an example, the Gelatis Abomination Cave. That's also where the spring is that you need to go and get some living water from during the Druidic Ritual quest. So we had to update the quest journal to refer to
how do you remember
right
that?
place.
That's impressive.
Well, we have QA look at a lot of stuff.
An absolute fountain of knowledge when it comes to quests.
It's insane.
He rewrote the quest.
Yeah.
So he should know all this.
Even still, it's incredible.
Yeah, if you're looking for the god statue, it's moved here just north of Taverley. Since he's trying to make a statue of Guthix to venerate Guthix back before Guthix died. Spoilers.
Why do we keep saying spoilers?
I know,
right?
So that feels a bit more.
New people watching the stream.
Oh yeah, new from your experience.
So that theme seemed more thematically appropriate. Similarly, the Druidic ritual. I got my quests mixed up. Anyway, so the altar of Guthix is also deep in the forest, so that feels a bit more like it's isolated from the rest of civilization. What else have I done? I'm just trying to be mindful of anything I've changed.
I mean, you've smashed out a lot.
There was a well here that was used for one of the troll invasion minigames. There's a repairing the gatehouse one. Something we have to be quite mindful of on mobile is that people don't have the same precision as they do with a cursor. So if you're trying to tap to move around, it's very likely that people in the process of moving up to this cave would wind up tapping that well. So it kind of got in the way. So it's still there during the Gatehouse minigame, but it doesn't need to be there during normal gameplay. Similarly, moved Captain Jute to the side here, just because we do a bit of movement back and forth this troll cave during the first time user experience. I think that's the key points. So moving on to the achievement paths themselves. Top
left, good sir.
Yeah, thanks. So in live, there's quite a lot of paths, and we've added even more. So we've added in this button here to essentially cycle through different books of paths. So
Lord.
But that's about as many as are in live at present. We've added even more. So in order to separate out Burthorpe and Taverley into their own series of paths to introduce you to the core mechanics and show you what to do in the game, we've given them their own books. Lumbridge as well has its own set. In the long term, if this goes well, we've put a lot of analytics hooks into the first time user experience to see how people engage with it. I'm hoping we might be able to do similar books for Rock and Draenor and Roomington and separate some of the content out. Oh yeah, that's another thing. The construction tutor has moved to Roomington. Again, just to try and declutter where we can. Actually, the Roomington POH was...
I presume it's next to the portal, though.
Yeah, near the portal. So it was originally the default one anyway, so we're kind of going back to what we had before. But if you happen to need the tutor for...
Does that world map tooltip, is that always work like that for quests?
That's been...
Wow. But the one with the quest requirements you just massed over, that was awesome. And the player on portal?
It's a mini quest, but yeah.
Is there a mini quest? Oh, I do apologise.
Yeah, mini quest it too.
But I love how it showed the requirements. I didn't even know that.
When we did the mining site ones, I based that on the quest ones, basically. Oh, speaking of quests... Yeah. Sorry. You were trying to prompt me to talk about something earlier, weren't you? That's very smart of you. Yes, I got there in the end. So, the Ashdale tutorial, people can't currently go to that. They go to Tutorial Island, but the... Ashdale tutorial still existed, and anybody who was like halfway through it and then logged back in, they were still on it. So we don't have to maintain 2 tutorials. We've removed the Ashdale tutorial completely. Cool. That also means that you don't land in Taverley and Gudrick doesn't send you off on the path system and bounce you to the other side of the world.
So Chip's gone as well.
So Gudrick's house is gone. Gudrick himself is gone. This is used in the first-time user experience. Once you've finished with the stuff in Burthorpe, we say go to Lumbridge, and there's even more stuff for you to do. And then you can
boat to Lumbridge.
So there's a one-way boat there to Lumbridge, and then you can do the Lumbridge path as well. So if you need Gudrick himself for the Shadow over Ashdale quest or for access to the Ashdale lodestone, Gudrick has moved to Port Sarum. It's not like I'm trying to get him as far away from civilization as possible. So there's Gudrick. So if you ever need to go to Ashdale, or you want to do the Shadow over Ashdale quest, or you want to claim the Pathfinder armor, all that stuff is on him. So we've moved the Pathfinder rewards, that armor set, off our first time user experience, because we want to actually get players to make their own stuff. A key part of the game we feel is to do your own crafting, that sense of investment from gathering the resources, making your own sword, making your own armor, wearing that on your character. You feel a lot more invested. So rather than using essentially a armor set which is superior to the stuff you make and then invalidating the hard work you do, we get you to make your own stuff. And we'll probably look at trying to move some of the Pathfinder rewards onto quest rewards in the future, but for the moment you can just claim it from him. It's just kind of hidden away. Incidentally, if you need the Dwarven Army axe, you get that from Major Rank, or she's in here as well. Now, I was talking about something before that. Brain.
I probably threw you off.
Yeah, you totally have. What was I talking about? Anyway, what even is the time?
It's fine.
10 minutes left.
We're doing well.
Yeah.
I have a note about, not on the note, but I have on this things to mention. Stuff about the ability bar tutorialization on Blood Pact quest.
So previously, once you finished Tutorial Island, the first thing we encouraged you to do was Blood Pact, and that teaches you the 3 combat styles, and there was a lot of embedded tutorialization, which broke a lot, particularly on things like Legacy. So we're now teaching you the basics of combat and how to use all 3 styles during the Burthorpe path. So that would just kind of be redundant information that you already would have learned in Burthorpe. So we've trimmed that back to it still teaches you the combat styles, but it doesn't have all of that forced you must drag this particular thing onto your action bar stuff that wasn't there before.
Someone's saying about drop modifier for combat pets. I can ask tomorrow and see if we can get that added on the wiki. Same as what we did obviously with the skilling pets. I mean, I can ask for you lot and see what happens. For those saying I didn't get my... I love how you capitalised logout, by the way. Really emphasise the logout. For those saying about I didn't get my loot crate from Saturday or the Sunday stream, what I'll do upstairs... I did fire it out earlier, so maybe it just didn't play ball. I'll go upstairs after this, fire out today's RuneScape stream, and then look to see what I can do in regards to the crate from Saturday. So I'll see what I can do for that one. Anyway, go for it, Stu.
Okay. Now, I should clarify, we've done very little on Tutorial Island itself. Our focus has been on the new player experience after Tutorial Island, because we've reworked the first 5 minutes of the game about 7 times now, and the latest one was to bring it back to something pretty similar to the first one. So we've put a lot of investment into that first 5 minutes for relatively little gain. So we want to try and look for the first couple of hours after that time. But one little thing is that we're now using that activity tracker that we mentioned for your progression through Tutorial Island. So it normally has a bespoke overlay with this progress bar on it. We're going to try and get you using the activity tracker from the beginning, and then we continue using that elsewhere. So rather than going to Lumbridge, we now go to Burthorpe.
I like the little highlighting. There's a lot of that. It's a lot more focus on the highlighting.
Yeah, we do quite a lot of highlighting of user interface elements, try to teach the user interface. And initially it is quite guided to try and get you into the core mechanics, but then we endeavour to take off the training wheels as you go along and have you do more of your own thing.
Oh, hello.
There's also a bit of a transition cutscene here, just a basic pan across Burthorpe to give you a bit more of a sense of context, because you've just gone from one environment to another one, just to get you a feel for where you are before you land at the lodestone.
Nice.
And then Taverley will start us off on the Burthorpe path.
I love the fireworks. It's cute.
And then step by step we go through all the steps of this
Holy
tutorial.
hell, could I have that cutscene for every time I use a lodestone? My God, that would be amazing.
Yeah, well, we're trialing it as something, maybe like when
Not to put anything on anyone's plate, but no joke, I would absolutely love that. That would be awesome.
I mean, we have those ones when you activate a lodestone for the first time, which has a static one over
with the camera focused on the player.
Yeah,
we could actually probably repurpose that to give a better overview of the area.
Yes, if you unlock the lodestone, maybe it's just like a quick
panel, something similar to that. But
I think it's awesome.
Yeah, maybe just for the free-to-play lodestones or the ones in the initial areas, while you're still trying to find your feet and the environment is unfamiliar.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So there's no way I can possibly do all of this in the time we have left, but I'll do a little bit. So introduces you to what Slayer Masters are about, the environment of Burthorpe, the dangers they have on all sides, and that Slayers defeat those monsters, try and keep people safe. And one of the worst monsters around, of course, is rabbits, because they breathe like rabbits.
The first camera pan, which you kind of skipped straight through, is actually of a dead person.
Yeah. So
of a warning of this could happen to you if
if the rabbits get their own way.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
My
this,
God.
you just need to watch his rabbits.
Yeah. He emphasises that. So he ideally wants you to go and kill some trolls, but you need to try and prepare for that first, because the last person you just tried to go in there without armor and without food, well, that's what happened to him. So wants to try and get you to work up to it, and also use some of your own skills along the way. So kill some rabbits so that you can get the meat you need to make yourself some food, and just cover the basics of combat. Then you're going to need to...
So, out of curiosity, so when you come out of this, you're introduced to someone who is introducing you to a skill that is actually for members, but you're a free-to-play player. Why is that?
All member skills are available up to free-to-play.
So
up to level 5.
So it's kind of show this is what you could get if you're a member.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean,
I think we actually find that Slayer is quite a good task, like a good skill for you to learn for RuneScape, because it gets you the preparation aspect, it gives you the slight combat aspect, and then it gives you obviously the reward at the end, and it's a good nice loop circle to say, well, actually for this next task you need to kill this, go prepare yourself. You've now already been taught how to do this by using Tyrael for this sort of way through. So it's kind of a good thing. Obviously it then expands out to say, well, if you want to fight more, you could go do herb lore, get some potions, it'll allow you to be a bit harder. you can do all your cooking, like loads of your cooking, all that sort of stuff, and it expands you out a bit further. So
cool.
Yeah, and we're what was I going to say? Yes, and we only introduced the Slayer skill itself in like the first path. Initially, we're just getting you to learn combat through this system here, and then once you're familiar with the notion of getting objectives and preparing for combat, then we have you get your first Slayer task from Taverley, and that's gelatinous abominations, which are really hard to say.
I'm not going to say it. Yeah, well, I'm not going to try. That's for sure.
We all know you love to say great names. Right?
I'm trying to figure out how I can try and I can't pronounce that. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, and the intention is to try and teach you this stuff in world on the mainland, because when you're skilling afterwards, this helps you to know where you can find these things. And so now I know where a range is nearby. I'm going to find out where I can get the all that I need to make basic bronze equipment. There was an optional path there for fishing, so I can learn where the lake is. And also unlock additional paths as we progress, so that it doesn't feel like a linear thing where we only make you do one thing all the time. As we progress, we add more and more paths to that list that you can then choose between. We try not to overwhelm you by having them all available at once, so we have a choice of 3 at any one time. And then that should hopefully give a sweet spot between direction and agency.
Cool. Okay. I think we can leave it there. I mean, the speedrunning attempt, though, Stu, is very much to be admired, I'll tell you that much.
Might have to speed up the server a little bit.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, just to clarify, obviously, so we wanted to use today's stream was originally going to be a general Q&A. However, we had this opportunity to kind of take you through what we wanted to do for trying to bring in new players to the game. And yeah, some people may go, well, why? But because at the end of the day, it's always good to try and have that focus and try and get more new players into RuneScape. So it's in itself, it can get bigger. So being able to show off essentially what is called the first time user experience and how you go into it. The changes that come with the activity tracker, the stuff you can pin from there, the Slayer tasks, challenges, the skill, the XP trackers, so on and so forth. And we had this opportunity to show it as a content showcase. We thought, why not, And any excuse to have Stu and Ash on our stream, and we haven't had for a very long time, as well. The prayer interface, as a quick reminder, yes, it is a little bit different. The bottom bit has been changed. It's in 3 parts: your prayer points, the quick prayers, and the filter. And you, in essence, will be able to see specific stats that those prayers are doing for you. So if you activate one of the curses, for example, it will then specifically say you are getting this from it, and so on and so forth. The filter is, in essence, a way of saying you don't have this prayer unlocked yet, you can't use it. So, as you know, or you may not know, if, for example, you haven't unlocked one of the prayers from one of the Burthorpe, one of the tasks in Ardoin, or one of the areas, I can't remember, and you try and click on the prayer, it'll then tell you it doesn't work, but now the filter will save you that time if you so wish. Just stuff like that, and I've tried to summarise that off the top of my head anyway. But apart from that,
you got it right.
Yes. And as an FYI, the Twitch Prime stuff, unless I'm told otherwise, I'm pretty sure we'll be going live in a few minutes. And if you have Twitch Prime, you'll be able to get yourself 200 rune coins, 15 keys, 40 hearts of ice, not hats, and you'll be able to redeem that on Twitch Prime in the next few minutes, I believe. But apart from that, we're going to look to do I'm hoping we're looking to do a general Q&A next week, because we just thought we had this opportunity, and we love showing you guys stuff where possible. We haven't done a little showcase in a while, so why not? So yeah, thank you all so much, as always. Stu, Ash, thank you so much for jumping on and essentially guiding the way, including the tour guide as well. Stu, looked awesome.
Yeah, I'm afraid it was only a small fraction of the amount of content that's there, but
I mean, there's more to see, right, in that regard.
Yeah, but we cover all 3 combat styles. We cover all the skills, and the member skills. A lot of them, those get unlocked, and you have additional ones in Taverley. Also, just to give one reassurance, in case you're concerned that you're getting a whole lot of additional paths here that are irrelevant to you, if you have a total skill level of 250 or more, 250 or more, those Burthorpe and Taverley paths are invisible to you. So nice. We're endeavouring to ensure that this stuff just doesn't bother you. You're not getting all of those highlights and things going on your screen if that's irrelevant. So we're trying to minimise that sort of thing.
Awesome. All right. Well, as always, thank you all so much for joining us. And we'll see you all next Tuesday for next stream. For that, as always, keep your feedback and everything else coming, and we'll jump into anything we can. So thank you all so much, everyone. And as always, take care. Have a good one.